Now, a very influential as well as a very trusted individual in developmental psychology is known as Erikson. He again sees your development as discontinuous in that once you go through stage one, then you can move on to stage two. And kind of similar to Freud, if you're supported in these stages, then you will develop a healthy approach. If not, then you will develop an unhealthy approach. But the main difference between Erikson and Freud has a big emphasis on sex and aggression. Erikson, and as well as your development kind of stops whenever you get to your adolescence. Whereas Erikson sees your development as beginning from birth and then going up until you our ultimate fate is of course passing away. But there are unique stages that we go through throughout the entire lifespan. So it goes across your entire life, not just to adolescence. Now, whenever it comes to the first stage of Erikson's psychosocial stages, this includes trust versus mistrust. So whenever we're born up until about 1 year old, we will go through a phase where if we are supported during this stage, that our basic needs are met, such as nourishment and affection, we will see the world as largely, and the people in it, as a trusting place. Whereas if our basic needs are not met, then we apparently during this stage will develop a sense of mistrust of the world. From 1 to 3 years of age, this is stage two. It's called the autonomy versus shame and doubt stage. This is where if we're supported, we can develop a sense of independence in many tasks. Whereas if we're not supported, then we may feel a sense of shame or doubt in our capabilities in being independent. Next is initiative versus guilt. During this stage is from 3 to 6 years old. We will begin to take initiative in some activities. And if we're supported in that, then our sense of being an initiative individual and being able to initiate tasks will be fruitful for us. We'll be able to develop a healthy habit when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to guilt, if we're not supported, we may develop an unsuccessful or boundaries are overstepped. So we may feel a sense of guilt whenever it comes to being independent or being initiative, I should say, in our task. Now, when it comes to stage four, this is from 7 to 11 years of age, industry versus inferiority. During this stage, if we're supported, then we will develop a sense of self-confidence in our abilities. So we will feel that whenever we engage in activities, we can complete tasks over time. Now, whenever we're not supported, we may feel a sense of incompetency or a sense of inferiority. Whenever we are not supported during this stage, we may feel inferior, as well as not being able to having that sense of self-confidence in our ability to take on tasks. Now, from 12 to 18 years old, during adolescence, we all know that we go through a different series of identity roles. We may test things out and end up in a particular identity and role. But again, adolescence is a time for exploration, and we may go through a few of these different roles to ultimately land on. So this is identity versus confusion, whereas if we're supported, we will develop that sense of identity, but if we are not, then we may experience a sense of confusion in our lives of who really am I? Now in stage 6, this is known as intimacy versus isolation. This will occur between 19 to 29 years of age. This is whenever we put more of an emphasis on establishing and increasing our intimate relationships with others, be they romantic or otherwise. Otherwise, individuals, if they're not supported or if they do not explore this in depth, they may end up in a place of isolation or wanting to be by themselves ultimately, both romantic or otherwise. Now in stage 7, this occurs between 30 to 64 years of age. This is whenever individuals will begin to contribute to society, build upon those intimate relationships to be a part of a family, create their legacy, and continue their family tree. Otherwise, individuals may experience a stage of stagnation. So, they may bounce from job to job, or they may rebel against working. They don't feel like they want to or can contribute to society in a fruitful way, and they may be by themselves by not being a part of a family and advancing their family tree. The last stage of Erikson's psychosocial stages of development include integrity versus despair. So this will occur around 65 years of age, around the retirement age, where individuals will look back on their life and if they've met the previous 7 stages, at least mostly, if not all, then they can look back on their life with a sense of integrity and say, I did the best I could with what I've been given, and I'm very happy with my life, although some things, or maybe none at all, but mostly some things could have been different. I would have not changed it because it led me to being who I am, and I'm proud of the life that I lived. Or individuals may experience a sense of despair, a sense of regret with a lot of their life, where most of the latter of Erikson's stages were met where they were not supported or were not successful during these stages. So they may look back with a lot of, again, just despair and regret for what they went through.